Thank you, Marta. Okay, let's share my screen. All right. Okay. So in that part, in that section, we want to share how we manage vulnerability at Eclipse Foundation. So to get started, I will not go through this slide because Marta already shared how it will be. Just to very quick say that we'll do 15 minutes here and we'll have a quiz in the end as well. And all the content will be available later. Okay, the vulnerability management at Eclipse Foundation. So to highlight here the main topics in that part, how we do this, of course, we go in details on those. For our project at Eclipse Foundation, we have one single email that is the security@eclipsefoundation.org. This email will be handled by the security team. And for our project at GitLab, we have the vulnerability report that you can use to follow the reports that are sent to us. And for a specific project, most of them are in the GitHub. Uh, we use the secured advisories as mentioned by Marta previously. It's a tool from the GitHub, and most of the projects under Eclipse Foundation, they have this pattern that we have the Eclipse dash and the organization name, and we have the repository. So for specific projects, we'll be using the GitHub. So let's start with about the main list that you mentioned before, the security@eclipsefoundation.org. This is a single point of contact to the Eclipse Foundation for all projects and the infrastructure. So any vulnerability can be reported to this main list. Those emails will be handled by the Eclipse Foundation security team that are part of the team is in that session that we are giving you. And we accept the encrypted messages such as OpenPGP. This is really the official contact for Eclipse Foundation, because the Eclipse Foundation is also a CNA, a CV number authority, as Marta mentioned. So we can reserve and publish CVs numbers. So, and how it works. We will perform the initial triage. So it means for each product report that we receive, we check if this is a valid product, valid report, if it's not just an AI generated or tooling generated report, and we'll do the communication directly to the project. So we'll be creating the vulnerability report ticket, or if it's a GitHub private advisory or a specific project, we'll be opening the advisory. And our team will be doing the communication with the project, checking how is the progress and how it's going, the fix, or if there are some questions that needs to be clarified between the reporter and the team. We try to remove all the blockers and make the flow easy for both sides. So, and how to use the Eclipse Foundation mail list. So basically, you need to send the mail to the security@eclipsefoundation.org with the vulnerability disclosure, saying what do you find. Try to be very clear in the information, and we really recommend you to add address everything that it's described. If the product has a security file, go to this, check everything that the product says that you should consider while reporting the vulnerability and add it to the email. You can also do the report directly to the project. So if you see the vulnerability or you discover one vulnerability in a GitHub project, you can go to the GitLab, to the product, and go to the GitLab of the Eclipse Foundation and generate a new ticket or issue for that. This issue will be by default confidential. So how it will work, we will create the issue for the communication in our internal mail list and report the issue to the project and help this communication. About the confidential issues, is really important to say that this will be visible only for our team, the Eclipse Foundation Security Team, and who is involved to the disclosure. So the team, the product team, of course, will have access this. But if you, as a reporter, want to follow this issue, you need to have an account to the Eclipse Foundation GitLab, and then we'll add you to the thread of this issue so you can follow all the progress. It's important just in the end when the CV is published and the fix is published, will make this issue no longer a confidential issue, but a public issue. And we make sure that to remove all the incorrect or irrelevant information to not get confusing when people go deep in the disclosure. So how you report this in the GitLab? So basically, when you go to the vulnerability report repository, you have a link that you can click and report an issue. This link is highlighted here in the screen with the red arrow. So what you do is you need to fulfill um, uh, the model. We have a lot of comments and information that will help you to add details about that vulnerability. It was for the GitLab, and now let's see how we do it for the GitHub. So as I mentioned before, at GitHub, we use the private advisories. This is it's part of the GitHub. This is done by project. So when you find the project and you want to report, again, we highlight, make sure that you check the security file if it exists, and follow the instructions about versions that are supported, unsupported, and how to make the disclosure. So at the first moment when you create the vulnerability report, this will be a draft. It means that it will be not visible. It will not be published. Again, the project security team will have visibility of this issue as the Eclipse Foundation security team. So, and the specific people that are part of this disclosure, of course, will have access to this issue. And after the publication, it's important to say here that only the first part of the message is visible. So we try to make everything available in that part because we have rights to edit it and make sure that the issue in the end will be clear. And we always use the Eclipse CV allocation. It means that during the process, we will reserve the CV number, and when it becomes public, we'll use the same number during the handling the vulnerability issue. So how to report a GitHub private advisory. So you can do it by creating a new issue, and you have an option to report a security issue. And again, you have the title, the CV that actually will be requested later by Eclipse Foundation Security Team, because we have, as I mentioned before, we are CNA, and you see a lot of comments as well that can help you to answer and fill the desired information to report and open and trade the disclosure. Um, so some recent additions to that process. Um, right now, it's a little bit um, there is a lot of work for us to reach out the security team for each project. Of course, we have our ways to do that, but we are working in mailing lists for security teams for each project, because it will make the communication more straightforward from the Eclipse Foundation security team and the project security team that will be trading the disclosure. So, and it will help us to implementing a better progress while we are dealing with this vulnerability. So this is something that we are doing as addition to that right now. And the topics that are still under discussions, one thing is the end of life or end of versions for projects. We have a problem that when we have a disclosure, but this is in an unsupported version, and how we treat that. So if an issue doesn't exist in the new versions, this will be not fixed. And if a CV entry, we can mask it, mark it, actually mask it, and unsupported when assigned. So this is nothing that is well defined yet by the industry. Still discussions on a CV project level. And one example that we have here is the open end of EOX, that is the end of life for the projects or versions. But this is something that we still needed to get a better standard, but in a high level, like in the CV project, that we can apply it in our management process. So how Eclipse Foundation security team support the products? We have 100 uh, uh, projects that we need to deal every week when we are working together with them. And what is our work together with them? So basically, what we do is redirect these issues to the project, assign the CVs, request, reserve, and also publish them, but also providing assistance on writing the CV, getting the correct classification for the CVs, making sure that the communication is clear between the reporters and the security team from the projects. So it's going back and forth on that communication between the two sides, from the reporter, the project teams, and making sure that the CV will have the best standards when published. And for that part, we will have another quiz. And after the quiz, we come back to continue. Um, I think Marta will already started the quiz here.
Yes, normally
Okay.
you should see it in a new window. This one is shorter than the previous one.
I will stop sharing to not make it more confusing. So we have 18, 19.
Yeah, people are going fast with
Yeah.
this.
While they are answer, do you have any questions from this second part? We have a question from Frederick here on the Q&A box. Who determines the severity of a specific vulnerability? The security team or the project team? Marta would like to answer this question.
Sure. So it depends on the project. We do this work together. If the project already has an idea of the severity and can type the CVSS score on their own, that's okay, and we use the value that they have in the CV entry. But if the project, for example, hasn't had a CV for a while, and or there are new members of the team who are not do not feel very well when determining the severity, we help them doing that, and at the end we come to the value that we share with the project. So to remember that the project can absolutely suggest what they want, but they can also ask us to suggest or to tell what we think about the CVSS score that they have.
Yeah, thank you, Marta. And we will always discuss if needed between project and the project and our security team as well. So we have another question, interesting question actually. I will answer live. There are some automations that help the different security teams. You are experimenting some Gen AI classifier for draft. Yeah, we use some tools to help us to classify, but so far we are not really using Gen AI. But I'm quite new in the team. I will let Marta also add some thoughts to this question.
Yeah, we have quite a much of tooling around vulnerabilities. For example, we are using tooling to actually create CVEs to fill CV entries. We also use tooling to monitor GitHub private advisories that our projects are getting, all the tickets, confidential tickets that are reported. There are also other tools that come from the CV program that is verifying the accuracy of CV entries and showing us how we are doing in things like the CVSS score or the vulnerability, the weakness enumeration. There's quite much of tooling. As Cairo said, we do not use Gen AI for that yet. I know that there are some models that try to help with that. We haven't tested those yet. But interested in having people experiences if there's some experience from other projects.
Yeah. We have almost 5 minutes for the quiz, almost more than 5 minutes with the quiz. And we have another interesting question in the Q&A. Some CVs have a critical score but are very difficult to exploit. Some have a lower score but high business impact. how to engage business strategy within the secure posture of the organization in order to prioritize tasks. Marta would like to take this one as well.
Yeah, I can. Taking into account that I do not have 1 hour to talk about this important subject.
Exactly.
So to answer this shortly, because I think that Cairo would like to also to cover the quiz results. So to answer rapidly this question, the CVSS criticality is subjective. So it's a general score, and in the latest version, in the version 4, each party can add in the score how it applies in their situation, because it may be that there is a high severity vulnerability, but in your case it's not going to apply because your firewall is blocking such kind of a traffic and it's not a big issue for you. On the other hand, there's some medium severity issue that in your case could be exploited. So the CVSS score is a factor, but definitely it's just a factor to be investigated. And yes, as the previous question suggested, there's tooling. There are other factors. For example, there are databases of exploited vulnerabilities, so that could be an interesting factor to take. And people are working on scoring vulnerabilities at their potential of being exploited. So this is a field that is moving pretty fast, and there are more new tools that are coming. And I'm going to stop the answer here.
Thank you. Yeah, it can be a very good topic for a talk discussion. Okay, let's go to the quiz. Looking for the first version question. What kind of vulnerability report methods does Eclipse Foundation provide? So we have the security mail list, private tickets, and yeah, we don't do bug bounty as we are a foundation, so we don't have this program here. Who has access to the private issue ticket? So the project security team is the only one that we have, or in our case, the Eclipse Foundation team. We can say that we are part of the product security team as well. Who can submit a vulnerability report? Yeah, everyone can contribute with a vulnerability report. So yeah, but we had really good questions, answers to the questions. I will stop sharing the quiz, and let me share my screen again. Okay. So so those are some content that you can use for future readings and getting more details about what we discussed here. We have the Eclipse Foundation Security Policy. We have the Eclipse Foundation Handbook and on vulnerability management. From the CV organization, we have the program rules and a guide to implement a coordinated vulnerability disclosure process for open source project that is part of OpenSSF. So those slides will be shared, and if you don't take note about those links, don't worry, we'll be able to access it later. So thank you, and we'll pass to Marta as well.
Yes, thank you all. There are 76 people who are there at the end. We have one last thing to ask you. We have prepared a survey about this session, so that if you want to receive a badge, you can put the information that we'll use for the badge, and you have also a possibility to tell us what you think about this session. Also remember that we have another section of this training in a week. We are starting exactly at the same time. So if you haven't registered for the second part, please do it so that you can join next week. So the survey link has been posted in the chat, so please take your time to fill it. We'll be also sending it to people who have attended if you didn't notice it. So thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much for questions. And if you have more questions that come to your mind after listening and were thinking about what you have heard today, you can contact us at any time and we can discuss together questions about vulnerability management, but also all questions related to security in general.